The families of the so-called Pebco Three have welcomed the Justice Minister's decision to open an inquest into the murders of three anti-apartheid activists. Sipho Ashe, Kakauli Godolozi and Champion Galela were killed in May 1985 after intercepting a phone call between Sipho Ashe and a Pebco comrade in Lusaka. The three were lured to the airport, kidnapped by the security police and later killed. Let's speak now to Zaid Kimmie, Executive Director at the Foundation for Human Rights. A very good afternoon to you, Kimmie. Thanks very much, Zaid. Thanks very much for your time. These families have been waiting for this for so long, for many, many years.
Yes, and it's unfortunate that the families have had to wait so long, because the truth of what happened emerged, I think, already in 1999, when the people responsible for these murders applied for amnesty before the TRC. And they were not granted amnesty. And so at that point, I think the police and the NPA should have had enough information to proceed with the prosecution. And in fact, a number of the perpetrators were indicted in 2003, but unfortunately, because they challenged their amnesty, their decision to refuse them amnesty, and there was just a failure of effort on the part of the Department of Justice and the NPA, and so no prosecutions ever happened.
They have said that they are welcoming this step, but how do they feel generally? About how a democratic dispensation failed them.
I think they are very unhappy with the fact that for 20 years, in 2004, I think there was sufficient evidence and the perpetrators were still alive. At this stage, there are only two perpetrators who are left, and I believe one of them is an extremely old man. And that is why, even at this late stage, the NPA could still have proceeded with the prosecution, but they've decided to have an inquest. And this will be the first inquest into the murder of the Pebco Three, since at the time of their murder, what happened was that they were abducted, tortured, murdered, and then their bodies burnt. And so there was, in fact, no prior inquest in this case.
And I'm asking that because I look at how the delays have affected those who obviously had an interest in these cases being resolved earlier rather than later. Because in Gideon Nieuwoudt's case, he applied for a review, and then there were delays due to failure or refusal by the Justice Department to file papers, and Nieuwoudt died in 2005.
Yes, so I think it's been a long and traumatic process for the families of the three activists, and the fact that we're going to get an inquest now is still something of a victory, but it's a bittersweet victory, because all the opportunities to actually punish those who committed these crimes have pretty much disappeared. So while the families, I think, still welcome the fact that there is going to be an inquest, and that we can then hopefully definitively say what happened to them, to those activists, insofar as getting any actual justice, I think we may have run out of time.
A lot, of course, has been said about the failures of the NPA, not only with regards to this, to the Pebco Three, but many other cases that some of whom have already only now started being looked into.
Yes, it's been almost 17 to 20 years since there's been any effort at looking into these cases. And as you no doubt aware, a number of the families have taken action against the state for some form of compensation for the long delays and what we believe was political interference in the decision to suppress any further investigation or prosecution of these cases. So this is one of very many instances where our democratic government had the opportunity to fulfill their obligations to investigate and prosecute, and particularly these crimes that were committed during apartheid, where these activists gave their lives for our freedom, and the state failed to take that opportunity. And we hope at some point, not through this inquest, but through other actions and through the Commission of Inquiry, the families and all of South Africans will get an answer as to why those decisions were taken.
We all look forward to that inquiry that has been set up by the president. And of course, it didn't come very easily. Lots of things went into that decision by the president. Hopefully, things will move a lot smoothly beyond this point. Zaid Kimmie, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.